Welcome to Dreamy Sleep Tales, where every whisper carries you into a world of magic and moonlight. Tonight, we invite you to journey with Riven into the hidden realm of the Moonkeeper's garden. Before we begin, make yourself comfortable. Find a cozy spot, slip on your headphones, and let the gentle glow of your bedside lamp guide you. As you settle in, allow the hush of night to wash over you and the soft cadence of my voice to lull you into tranquility. In just a moment, you'll step through moonlit groves, meet guardians of memory and renewal, and face shadows that test the heart. Whether you're seeking peaceful rest or a touch of wonder, this tale will carry you on wings of stardust towards serene dreams. So, dim the lights, draw your blankets close, and prepare to drift away under the watchful gaze of the Moonkeeper. Let the story begin. Riven awoke to a soft glow drifting across his eyelids. He lay on his back in a meadow fringed with mauve grasses that seemed to hum beneath his shoulders. Above him, the sky was awash in ribbons of green and violet light, the aurora dancing in silent applause. He blinked and sat up. In the distance, two cherry blossom trees leaned toward each other across a glassy lake, their branches heavy with luminescent pink blooms. Beyond them, a range of jagged mountains loomed like silent sentinels, their peaks dusted with moonlit snow. A single cherry petal drifted down from the trees, spinning slowly in the air before coming to rest on his palm. Riven's heart quickened. He had never seen cherry trees here, never in his own world. Only in dreams had he glimpsed such wonders, and dreams had never felt so vivid. He rose to his feet, brushing grass seeds from his trousers. As he stepped forward, each blade of grass seemed to bend to greet him, and the petals overhead shimmered with an inner light. A cool breeze stirred ripples across the lake, carrying the scent of honeyed blossoms. Riven closed his eyes and breathed deeply. He felt disoriented. Was this a dream? And yet, the air felt crisp, real. A gentle voice broke the stillness. "Welcome, Riven." He whirled to see a figure emerge from behind a blossom-burdened branch. The being wore a cloak of lunar silver that twinkled like starlight, and her eyes reflected the entire night sky. She held a polished staff topped with a glowing orb. "Who are you?" Riven asked, voice hushed. "I am the Moonkeeper," she replied, her tone warm as moonlight on water. "This is my garden, an oasis of peace that flourishes only under the full moon. And you, Riven, have been chosen to enter its embrace." Chosen? He glanced at the petal still resting in his palm. It pulsed with a soft golden glow. "The petal you hold bears my invitation," the Moonkeeper said. "Every century, I select a guardian from among the dreamers of your world. The guardian ensures the harmony of moonlight and blossom, protects this sanctuary from shadow, and returns when the time is right to share its wonder with humankind." Riven's pulse thundered in his ears. "Why me?" he whispered. "Your heart is open," she answered. "You feel the world's magic even when it seems hidden. You listen to the night's murmur and heed its call. That is why you are here." Despite the serenity around him, a tremor of doubt ran through Riven. "What must I do?" "Walk the garden's path," she instructed, motioning toward a stone causeway leading into the grove. "Meet its inhabitants, learn its secrets, and prepare your spirit for the choice ahead. Darkness stirs beyond these trees, and soon you will face a trial of light and shadow." Riven swallowed. "A trial? Fear not," the Moonkeeper soothed. "The garden's magic will guide you. Trust your heart." He looked out across the mirrored lake, where moonlight painted silver trails on the water. The stones of the causeway glowed faintly, marking his way forward. Riven folded the glowing petal into his palm, determination rising within him like the tide. With steady steps, he crossed the first bridge of stones, and the cherry blossoms above began to scatter petals that drifted down like tiny stars. The air thrummed with gentle music, an ancient melody whispered by the blossoms themselves. As Riven ventured deeper, the lake fell silent, and the aurora's colors grew more vibrant, as if the sky itself were celebrating his arrival. He took a deep breath and pressed onward, unaware that with every step, He drew closer to the heart of the Moonkeeper's garden and to the challenge that would define his destiny. The path curved gently along the lake's edge, leading Riven past towering willows whose silvery leaves shimmered like falling stars. Each time he brushed past a branch, a soft chime rang out, as though the tree itself was singing. The ground underfoot was mossy and warm, guiding his steps in patterns that only the garden's magic could weave. Ahead, a pale fox with fur like spun moonbeam emerged from the underbrush. Its eyes were bright pools reflecting the aurora above. Riven crouched, heart pounding with both awe and curiosity. The fox regarded him calmly, then lifted its head in invitation, padding forward along the path. Riven followed, noting how the willow branches formed an arch overhead, their gentle sway revealing glimpses of the mountains beyond. The moonlight shimmered on the water's surface, lacing the lake with patterns of dancing light. Every so often, a blossom would drift down, each petal carrying its own silvery glow. At a clearing where the water widened into a tranquil pool, the fox paused. From the opposite shore, a figure approached, an owl with wings patterned like the night sky. Its silent flight disturbed only by a muffled ripple in the water. Perched upon a flat stone was a small creature, a luminous salamander whose tail left a transient trail of stardust. "We welcome you, Riven," the owl hooted, its voice both gentle and wise. "I am Lyra, guardian of memory, and this is Celine, who carries the essence of rebirth." Celine dipped her head, leaving behind motes of twinkling light. The air tasted of spring rain and honey, warming Riven's chest. "Why am I meeting these guardians?" he asked, breath catching. Lyra ruffled her feathers. "The Moonkeeper's garden thrives on balance," she explained. "Memory, rebirth, growth, and rest. All must harmonize under the moon's grace. Each guardian you meet embodies one of these forces. Learn from them, and you will understand how to protect this place." Celine glided closer and brushed her tail against Riven's hand. Where stardust touched his skin, he felt a surge of calm renewal wash through him, as though every worry was melting away. "Your spirit must be as fluid as water, Riven," Celine whispered in a voice like a distant lullaby. Let your past guide you, but do not cling to it. Lyra stepped forward, extending a wing toward the willow grove beyond the clearing. And now, growth, she said. A chorus of tiny lights, fireflies with wings that glowed like embers, rose from the grass. They swirled around Riven, painting trails of gold and green. Open your heart to possibility, Lyra urged. Trust that through change, the garden will flourish. Riven closed his eyes, letting the firefly's warmth seep into his bones. He remembered his life beyond the garden, the quiet evenings under streetlights, the distant hum of cars, the worries that often kept sleep at bay. Here, in the moonlit hush, those concerns felt distant, as if he were shedding them like an old cloak. Just as serenity threatened to lull him, too deeply, a cold wind hissed through the trees. The fireflies scattered, their glow flickering like fading hopes. Across the pool, a dark shape slid beneath the water surface. Beware the shade, Lyra warned, her tone now grave. It grows restless when the garden's light shines strong. The air grew colder still, and the willow chimes fell silent. From the mist rising above the lake, tendrils of shadow snaked toward the clearing, dissolving petals and dimming the moonlight's reflection. Riven's heart pounded. He looked at Lyra and Celine. "What must I do?" he asked, voice firm, despite the tremor in his chest. Lyra's eyes held steady wisdom. "You must face the shade and restore the balance. Trust the guidance of moonlight and of your own inner light." With the guardians at his side, Riven stepped forward into the encroaching mist. The garden's branches seemed to part for him, lighting a path through darkness. As he advanced, he felt the weight of doubt and fear press against him, but also the pulsing strength of the moon overhead, reminding him that even in shadow, light endures. Riven's boots sank softly into the mist-laden path as he and the guardians pressed toward the lake's center. The moon, now high and pearlescent, cast a pale corridor of light across the water, leading directly into the fog. Celine's stardust glowed faintly on his skin, and Lyra's feathers bristled against the chill. "Stay close," Lyra whispered, her wings spread in a protective arc. The shade preys on loneliness. With each step, tendrils of darkness reached out, thin, sinuous shapes that writhed in the air like living smoke. Whenever one brushed him, Riven felt a frigid whisper along his spine, a whisper that tried to plant doubt. You are not worthy. You cannot protect this garden. You will fail. He shook his head, recalling the Moonkeeper's faith. I am here to guard the light, he murmured, pressing on. Each word kindled warmth in his chest, pushing the chill back into the shadows. Suddenly, the tendrils coalesced into a towering figure atop a floating stone, an entity of pure darkness, its form shifting and roiling. Two glowing eyes, pale as moonbeams, fixed on Riven. Turn back, dreamer, it hissed. This place is mine to consume. Riven's heart pounded, but he stepped forward. You have no power here, he declared. This garden thrives on hope, on memory, on renewal. You cannot undo what the moon has woven. The shade laughed, a sound like cracking ice. It unleashed a wave of shadow that surged toward him. Riven raised his free hand, and the petal in his palm blazed with golden light. He closed his fingers around it, and for a moment, the moon above seemed to pulse in response. A beam of moonlight shot from the petal, slicing through the fog and slamming into the shade. The entity recoiled, its form unraveling at the edges, but it was not yet defeated. The shadows swarmed around it, knitting it back together. Lyra flapped her wings, sending a gust of wind that scattered the shadows like leaves. Riven, remember the lessons of growth and rebirth. You are not alone. Celine's stardust flared in the clearing, pooling at Riven's feet like liquid light. He knelt and pressed his palms into the glow. A current of energy flowed through him. Warmth, memories of laughter and love, of quiet dawns and fragrant gardens. He rose, holding the stardust aloft. Light guides me, he whispered. Light protects me. The petal's glow merged with the stardust, forming a sphere of pure radiance. Riven pointed it at the shade. The orb drifted forward, colliding with the darkness and erupting in a shower of silver sparks. The shade shrieked as its form dissolved, and with a final crackle, it vanished, leaving only a ripple on the lake surface. For a moment, the night was silent. Then, as if in relief, the willow chimes rang out once more. The mist lifted, revealing the lake's vivid reflection of the moon and aurora. Fireflies returned, weaving new patterns of light around Riven's feet. Lyra landed beside him, her eyes bright. You faced your fear and held fast to hope. Celine bowed her head. Balance is restored, if only for now. But remember, shadows linger where light does not reach. Riven exhaled, allowing himself a small, triumphant smile. I understand, he said softly. I will guard this place. The guardians guided him back to the moonlit path. As they walked, Riven felt the garden's heartbeat beneath his feet. A gentle rhythm, like a promise. The trial had tested him, but he had emerged stronger. His spirit bound forever to the Moonkeeper's garden. Dawn approached, though the moon lingered, casting a gentle glow that mingled with the first pearly hints of sunrise. Riven followed the winding path deeper into the grove, the guardians at his side. The willow chimes had resumed their soft melody, guiding him onward. Ahead, the path opened into a vast courtyard nestled between ancient cherry trees. At its center stood a stone pedestal cradling a crystalline pool. The waters within shimmered with every hue of the aurora: emerald greens, amethyst purples, and sapphire blues. Around the pool's edge, delicate lilies floated, their petals aglow with dew that sparkled like diamonds. The Moonkeeper appeared on the far side of the courtyard, her silver cloak rustling like silk. In her hand, the orb atop her staff pulsed in rhythm with the garden's heartbeat. You have done well, Riven, she said softly. You have learned of memory, renewal, growth, and faced the shadow. Now comes the final trial, the trial of the heart. Riven approached the crystalline pool, peering into its luminous depths. What must I do? He asked. Look within, the Moonkeeper instructed. The pool reflects the truth of one's soul. To be guardian, you must embrace both light and darkness within yourself. He knelt beside the pool and gazed into its depths. At first, he saw only his reflection, bathed in moonlight. Then the water shimmered and images surfaced. His childhood home under golden lanterns, laughter echoing in sunlit rooms, his mother's warm embrace. A day he'd stumbled and fallen, scars earned through effort. Nights spent wrestling with doubt and fear. Moments when he'd faltered but rose again. Tears pooled in Riven's eyes as the memories washed over him. He thought of his dreams, the longing to create, to explore the unseen mysteries of the world, but also his fears of failure, of fading away unnoticed. Beneath these visions, a darker current churned. Regrets he had tried to bury. The guilt of harsh words spoken in anger. The ache of opportunities missed. His chest tightened as shame and sorrow pressed against his heart. "Do not turn away," Lyra urged quietly, her wing brushing his shoulder. Acknowledgement is the first step to healing. Celine hovered above the pool, her stardust forming a soft glow around his reflection. "Release what binds you," she whispered. "Accept even the shadows that dwell within." Riven drew a trembling breath and placed his hand on the water's surface. The reflection rippled, and he steeled himself, letting the memories flow freely through him. He allowed himself to feel the pain of past mistakes, to honor the lessons they bore. As he embraced each fragment, light and dark alike, the pool's waters stilled, and a harmonious luminance spread across its surface. A warm light rose from the pedestal, engulfing Riven in a gentle embrace. Within that glow, he felt every part of himself, joy and sorrow, hope and fear, woven into a tapestry of resilience. His doubts dissolved, replaced by a profound sense of acceptance. When the light receded, Riven stood taller, his spirit shining with newfound clarity. The Moonkeeper approached, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You have proven your worth," she said, voice trembling with pride. "You carry the garden's heart within you." As dawn's first rosy rays painted the sky, Riven looked around the courtyard. The cherry blossoms glowed in the new light. The water sparkled like a gem, and the guardians watched him with reverence. The Moonkeeper raised her staff, and the orb atop it transformed into a petal as radiant as the one Riven had carried. It floated toward him, settling gently in his palm. "This is the moon's blessing," she said. "With it, you may return when shadows threaten and guide the light wherever you wander." Riven closed his fingers around the glowing petal, feeling its warmth pulse with his heartbeat. He bowed before the Moonkeeper, his heart full. "Thank you," he whispered. "I will honor this gift." The garden glowed in acceptance, as if offering its eternal promise that under moonlight, all souls, no matter how fractured, could find peace and purpose. With the moon's blessing glowing in his palm, Riven felt the garden's pulse echo through every fiber of his being. Lyra and Celine accompanied him along a narrow causeway of polished stones that curved away from the courtyard, leading toward a veil of silvery mist. Through that veil lay the boundary between the Moonkeeper's garden and Riven's own world. Beyond this mist, the Moonkeeper's voice drifted to him as she appeared beside him. "You may return to where you came from. The petal's light will guide you back whenever the balance falters. But heed this. The magic of the garden lives so long as you carry its heart." Riven nodded, the orb petal warm against his palm. He glanced at the guardians, Lyra's wise eyes, Celine's gentle glow, and felt a surge of gratitude. "I will remember," he promised softly. He stepped into the mist. It swallowed him in a cool hush, bending the sounds of the garden into a distant lullaby. Each step rippled the haze, and when it cleared, he stood on a familiar, winding path framed by ancient oaks. Only the oaks here glittered faintly with silver dew. The air smelled of rain-soaked pine and distant firelight. He recognized this path from childhood wanderings near his grandmother's cottage, where he chased fireflies at dusk. He remembered how safe he felt beneath those trees, and how, even then, he longed for wonders beyond the familiar. Now, he carried the garden's wonder within him. A soft wind stirred the trees, scattering petals of light that he alone could see. Riven smiled and tucked the glowing petal into his coat pocket. He felt a subtle shift inside, as though the garden's magic had become part of his own breath. Night was falling. Lanterns flickered along the path, visitors strolling home, laughter drifting on the breeze. Riven paused at a fork in the road. On one side lay the path back to his grandmother's cottage. On the other, a road leading toward the distant town where he worked, where deadlines and worries awaited him. He exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of both worlds. The garden had taught him that peace and purpose need not be separate. Light and shadow, dream and reality, they all wove together in the tapestry of life. Choosing the road toward town, Riven whispered, "I carry the garden's heart with me." Immediately, the petal glowed brighter, and for a fleeting moment the world shimmered with moonlight and cherry blossoms. He felt the guardian's presence guiding him forward. Arriving at the square, Riven found the night alive with simple pleasures, a street musician strumming a harp, children chasing glowing orbs of light sold by a traveling vendor, couples strolling arm in arm. Each moment in its ordinary beauty sparkled as if seen through fresh eyes. He breathed deeply and opened his coat. The orb petal hovered free once more, casting gentle light over the cobblestones. A passerby paused, surprised at the glow, then smiled and continued. The light rippled outward, touching strangers' hearts with warmth. Riven realized then that his journey was only beginning. The Moonkeeper's garden lived not just in a hidden valley, but wherever hope and kindness took root. Every act of compassion, every whisper of wonder would renew its magic. He tucked the petals safely against his heart and set off into the town's night, ready to share the garden's light with the world beyond the moonlit veil. And in the garden, far away yet always near, the Moonkeeper watched the horizon, certain the balance would endure as long as dreamers like Riven kept the flame alive. The weeks that followed felt both ordinary and extraordinary. Riven carried the orb petal tucked against his heart, its glow a quiet reminder beneath his shirt. In the daylight, it rested warm against his chest. At night, it shimmered with gentle luminescence that only he could see. Each morning, he rose before dawn to walk through the town, greeting shopkeepers, offering help where he could, and noticing small marvels he once overlooked. A stray cat curled beneath a bakery's awning. The dew on window panes glistened like tiny stars. A child's laughter at the fountain sounded like pure music. With each moment of kindness, the orb petal pulsed, as though delighting in Riven's discovery of beauty in the mundane. But shadows tested him in unexpected ways. A co-worker snapped at him during a hectic meeting. Old self-doubt crept in when he missed a deadline. Loneliness whispered in the quiet hours before sleep. At first, Riven's breath faltered at the weight of those familiar shadows. Then he remembered Selene's words. Accept even the shadows that dwell within. And the petal's glow steadied his heartbeat, warming him with the Moonkeeper's promise. One evening, as a storm rumbled on the horizon, Riven found himself drawn to the forest path near his home. Rain had turned the dirt road to mud and sent droplets tumbling through the oak branches. He paused beneath the trees and closed his eyes, recalling the willow chimes and the hush of moonlit blossom. In his palm, the orb petal glowed proudly against the dark. He stepped deeper into the wood, where thunder echoed like distant drums. The storm seemed determined to wash away every spark of wonder. And yet, through the rain, Riven felt the garden's heartbeat calling him. He raised the petal, and for a moment, the storm paused. A shaft of moonlight broke through the clouds, illuminating a hidden glade. There, a single cherry tree bloomed improbably in the rain, its petals glowing like lanterns. Riven smiled, knowing the Moonkeeper's garden lived in this place now too. He walked among the petals, letting the rain and light mingle on his skin. The storm's roar softened into a lullaby as he stood beneath the glowing branches. In that moment, he understood fully. The moon's blessing was not a burden, but a gift to share. Every act of compassion, every moment of wonder, every choice to embrace both light and shadow, these would keep the garden alive, stretching its magic across the world. When the rain finally eased and dawn's first color touched the clouds, Riven made his way home. He felt whole, his spirit woven through with moonlight and memory, rebirth and growth. The orb petal faded into a gentle ember beneath his shirt, content in its new life within him. And so, under every moonlit sky, whether in a hidden valley or a rain-soaked forest. Riven walked with purpose. He knew that the garden's heartbeat within every soul open to its magic. As long as dreamers remembered to seek the light, to honor both joy and sorrow, the Moonkeeper's garden would endure, eternal as the moon itself. As our journey through the Moonkeeper's garden draws to a close, I hope you feel the gentle glow of moonlight guiding you into peaceful dreams. If this tale brought you calm and wonder, please tap that like button and subscribe to Dreamy Sleep Tales for more enchanting bedtime stories. Share this video with friends who could use a little magic at bedtime, and let me know in the comments how the story touched your heart. Did Riven's adventure stir your imagination or help you drift off to sleep? Your thoughts mean the world to me. Thank you for listening, sweet dreamers. Until next time, may your nights be filled with stardust and serenity. Good night.